The boating industry is hiding a massive problem, and it's finally spilling out. Dealers across the country are rejecting certain boats because the failures are too costly, too frequent, and too dangerous to risk selling. These aren't rare lemons, they're entire brands collapsing under warranty claims, structural flaws, and repair backlogs stretching for months. Some manufacturers are now rumored to be on the edge of bankruptcy, and dealers know it. Meanwhile, buyers are still being shown these boats like nothing is wrong. Before you get burned this year, you need to know exactly which models are being refused. Here are the 9 boats dealers are walking away from. Bayliner. The issues showing up in recent Bayliner builds are becoming impossible to ignore. Service departments keep seeing the same weak transom structures, thin fiberglass along impact zones, electrical harness corrosion after only 1 season, and deck hardware pulling loose under moderate use. These problems arrive early, repeat often, and force dealers into long repair cycles that wipe out any profit. Units that once sold quickly are now returning with warranty claims, sitting on lots longer than expected, or heading straight to auction because the risk has become too high to carry. You hear the same stories, repeated with slight variations. Floors softening earlier than expected, hardware pulling away from mounting points that should have lasted many seasons, electrical systems that behave unpredictably after ordinary hours on the water. Service departments quietly acknowledging that repair times keep stretching because the underlying construction is failing faster than they can keep up. When that happens across enough units, the message becomes obvious. The brand is slipping, and nobody in the business wants to carry the burden. The real issue is not a single defect. It is the accumulation of many small weaknesses. Thin fiberglass can flex under repeated stress, leading to cracks that spread silently until a costly repair becomes unavoidable. Wiring looms can corrode sooner than they should, creating intermittent faults that frustrate technicians and owners alike. Fit and finish choices that saved a little money on the production line end up costing real money later. And every dollar spent on repairs is a dollar that should have remained in someone's pocket. When several owners face the same expenses within the same period, trust erodes, and dealers feel the fallout immediately. Dealerships operate on slim margins, and repeated warranty claims can wipe out an entire season of profit. When a brand begins showing higher failure rates, even by a modest percentage, the floor plan math collapses. Boats that once turned quickly become liabilities, requiring storage space, labor hours, and uncomfortable conversations with buyers who expected better. No dealer wants to explain the same defects week after week. Eventually, they stop stocking the product altogether because avoiding losses becomes more important than making sales. That is why you are seeing more of these boats show up at auctions, discounted heavily and moved quietly from one region to another. The market is telling the truth before the marketing departments ever will. When repair bills rise faster than resale value, the cycle breaks, and every experienced observer knows what comes next. The warning signs appear long before anyone admits trouble. Sea-Doo. For anyone watching the repair boards lately, the spike in Sea-Doo service tickets stands out immediately. Mechanics keep logging the same failures jet pump scoring after minimal debris, cooling circuits losing flow under moderate throttle, and electrical modules shutting down without a clear trigger. Customers arrive expecting the usual Sea-Doo simplicity and instead face overheating warnings, limp mode resets, and steering components wearing out far earlier than expected. Even routine fixes stall for weeks because replacement parts are back-ordered, leaving both owners and dealers stuck in limbo. Every season, the list of repeating problems gets longer, and now the pattern is too established to ignore. Service departments report a steady rise in electrical complaints tied to control modules that misread basic commands. Steering inputs sometimes register late. Engine management systems occasionally lock themselves into protective mode without a clear trigger. These issues can drain hours from technicians who already face long backlogs. When components fail earlier than expected, owners are stuck wading through repair queues that stretch from several weeks to several months, depending on the season. Those delays carry real cost, not just in money, but in lost weekends and wasted fuel for canceled plans. Fiberglass quality has also become a source of frustration. Some hulls show premature wear on surfaces that should withstand ordinary recreation. Stress points develop along areas that take repeated impact from waves, and small fractures can grow quickly if left unchecked. Every repair cuts deeper into resale value, And a boat that was meant to be an accessible entry into the lifestyle begins to look like a long-term liability. Dealers know this, and many have begun scaling back orders because each returned unit threatens the thin margin they rely on to stay afloat. The brand's modular design, once considered its most appealing trait, now introduces its own challenges. Panels loosen more easily, mounts shift after a season of use. The flexible layout promised personalization, yet it also means more points of failure and more hardware that must remain tight under constant vibration. Technicians quietly admit that many of these issues cannot be prevented. They are symptoms of lighter construction choices, meant to keep costs down during a period of rising material prices. When a brand starts generating more warranty files than confident new owners, the market reacts quickly. You see the truth in discounted listings, in boats shuffled off lots at reduced prices, and in hesitant dealers trimming back inventory. The water does not lie, and neither do the repair logs. The pattern is undeniable. If this breakdown is helping you avoid the mistakes dealers never warn anyone about, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. Share your experience down below too. Every real story helps others see what is really happening in this market. Hurricane. Stress cracks along support seams, deck sections flexing under routine chop, and moisture showing up inside compartments that should stay bone dry. These are the problems technicians keep seeing in recent hurricane builds. Service crews across multiple marinas report stringer movement after modest use, hardware backing out from mounting points, and electrical corrosion forming far sooner than it should. Owners expected a simple, family-friendly deck boat, yet the repair logs keep filling with structural corrections and water intrusion claims tied specifically to Hurricane's newer production cycles. The pattern is consistent, costly, and no longer easy for dealers to overlook. Technicians describe issues that show up long before the second or third season. Soft spots form in areas that once held firm. Structural panels separate from bonding points that should stay locked for a decade or longer. Electrical circuits flicker, short, or lose continuity after ordinary weekend use. Each small failure might seem manageable on its own, but when several emerge within a short window, the true cost becomes clear. Labor hours increase. Replacement parts sit on back order. Repair timelines stretch from a handful of days into several weeks. Nothing drains trust faster than repeated disappointments, and that erosion shows in resale values sinking year after year. Dealers, who operate on margins thinner than most people realize, have begun stepping back from carrying large inventories. A single warranty claim cuts into profit. 2 warranty claims erase it. 3 warranty claims push the relationship from difficult to unsustainable. No one wants to stock a brand that returns to the service bay more often than it leaves the lot. Floor plans depend on predictable turnover, and unpredictable failures break that rhythm instantly. When boats stop generating confidence, they start generating losses, and losses force decisive action. Owners share photos of seam gaps widening along high-stress edges. They post videos showing water pooling in compartments meant to stay bone dry. They compare notes on forums detailing structural adhesives releasing after ordinary wave impact. These documents, combined with the steady drum of dealer hesitation, outline a truth the marketing brochures never reveal. Once confidence slips, recovery becomes extremely difficult. The larger story is not about a single defect. It is about a shift in reliability that feels measurable and visible across many units. When every sign points in the same direction, it becomes impossible to ignore. The next step is understanding where the pattern leads and what it means for anyone considering a boat from this brand. Monterey, soft spots forming along the aft deck, fuel vent pathways clogging after ordinary weekend use, and electrical panels throwing intermittent faults. These are the problems showing up repeatedly in recent Monterey builds. Technicians across multiple service yards say they are seeing premature gel coat wear along stress seams, fiberglass layers thinning in areas that once held stronger reinforcement, and hardware backing out from factory mounting points far sooner than expected. Owners have posted photos of upholstery seams separating within a year, and wiring harnesses corroding despite freshwater operation. Even routine diagnostics are taking longer, because several components on newer Monterey units require more teardown than earlier generations. Dealers who once stocked these boats comfortably are now reducing orders, not because of demand, but because the warranty work is piling up faster than the boats can clear the service bays. Each repair on its own seems manageable, but the pattern emerging across multiple seasons is unmistakable and far too costly for dealers to carry quietly. Warranty claims have increased steadily, according to several regional managers who reviewed internal records during the last year. Even small claims matter, because each one burns labor hours, storage space, and goodwill. When claims cluster tightly, the financial equation changes instantly. Floor plans depend on quick turnover, not on long delays waiting for replacement parts that come from supply chains still strained by production interruptions. Every extra day a boat sits in the service bay is a day it cannot generate revenue, and dealers track this number with the same seriousness an accountant tracks interest payments. If the trend begins rising above what they consider acceptable, they make a straightforward choice and reduce incoming inventory. Buyers notice the difference as well. Resale listings appear with language describing light usage yet noticeable wear. Auction sheets reference cosmetic corrections, paired with mechanical notes, that ordinarily would not appear so soon. These are not isolated experiences. They show a brand drifting from the durability reputation it once held. When a shift like that becomes visible across multiple locations and multiple seasons, the conclusion becomes unavoidable. The warning is already written in the repair history. Anyone paying attention can see the long pattern forming. A pattern built from repeated repairs, shrinking confidence, rising costs, and an unmistakable decline in overall reliability today. 4 wins. Service records are showing 4 wins units arriving with early deck separation, moisture inside sealed compartments, and electrical panels failing long before expected. Multiple dealerships across different regions confirm the same, recurring issues creating a reliability pattern that is now impossible to ignore. Technicians report structural weaknesses developing earlier than expected, with bonding points separating under modest wave impact and internal supports losing rigidity after only a handful of routine outings. These failures do not appear catastrophic at first glance. Yet, they accumulate steadily, creating maintenance cycles that drain time and confidence. The brand's earlier reputation for durable craftsmanship now competes with documentation showing measurable erosion in build consistency. Service departments express growing frustration because routine fixes often expand into deeper inspections. Once hidden moisture or weakened fasteners appear. Labor hours rise quickly, and each additional step pushes repair bills higher than owners anticipated. While individual flaws might seem manageable, the pattern reveals a brand drifting from the steadiness that once defined its identity. Every technician's statement reinforces the same conclusion, forming across regions. Dealers monitor warranty claims closely, and recent cycles show a steady upward trend that has become difficult to justify financially. 1 claim erodes profit. 2 claims eliminate it entirely. 3 claims create a negative balance no floor manager wants to explain. When that pattern repeats over more than 1 season, inventory orders shrink, and confidence fades faster than any marketing effort can rebuild it. Owners document their experiences with photos showing seam gaps widening along hull edges, mounting plates shifting after limited hours on the water, and upholstery stitching separating sooner than expected. These accounts align closely with technician reports and dealer hesitation, creating a unified narrative across multiple states. The brand's modern production cycle appears strained, and that strain shows in repeated maintenance issues that emerge far too early. Auction sheets reveal more detailed stories, listing cosmetic corrections paired with mechanical remarks that ordinarily would not appear until much later in a boat's lifespan. When several units display similar comments, buyers understand that something deeper is taking place. Depreciation accelerates when trust declines, and trust declines when visible wear arrives long before it should. That equation impacts every owner and every dealer who interacts with the brand. Everything points toward a clear direction, and anyone watching closely can see the long pattern forming without needing further explanation. Before we move into the last few boats, take a moment to subscribe. The patterns unfolding across these brands are changing fast, and staying ahead of them can save you thousands. New reports, service trends, and early warnings are all coming next. Lowe. People who spend time around working marinas have noticed a shift with Lowe, and the signs are showing up far more often than anyone expected. Inspectors, technicians, and veteran dealers keep reporting the same structural concerns appearing across multiple units, and the pattern is becoming difficult to ignore. Pontoon brands depend on weld integrity, yet many professionals now describe joints weakening earlier than reasonable, sometimes after only a handful of ordinary outings. When welds separate, even slightly, vibration spreads through the rails and flooring, and that vibration accelerates every other form of wear. Owners document these issues with clear photos, and service departments confirm the problems repeatedly. Nothing undermines confidence faster than a structural weakness, especially on a boat designed for steady, predictable leisure days. Labor logs from several regions show a rising number of hours dedicated to correcting weld fatigue, deck shifting, and hardware loosening around high-stress mounting points. Even simple fixes turn into extended projects when access panels require removal, realignment, and resealing. Those added hours push repair totals upward, and many totals pass thresholds that make dealers uncomfortable. Some dealers quietly admit they now avoid accepting certain trade-ins because the risk outweighs the margin. Moisture intrusion has become another recurring theme. Several owners reported water seeping into compartments meant to remain sealed, leading to mildew, electrical corrosion, and premature material breakdown. Technicians reviewing these cases often find insufficient sealing compound or inconsistent application along floor seams. Once moisture infiltrates a pontoon structure, the process reverses very slowly, and long-term durability becomes an open question. Used listings reveal additional patterns. Auction notes reference deck movement, railing instability, and internal corrosion more frequently than in earlier generations. These remarks appear on boats with surprisingly low hour counts, which raises concerns about the long-term trajectory of the brand's construction practices. Depreciation accelerates when evidence of structural wear arrives long before it should, and depreciation affects every future owner directly. Dealers who rely on predictable warranty behavior now find themselves managing repeated claims. One claim can be manageable, 2 claims create stress, and 3 claims in a short period turn confidence into hesitation. When hesitation spreads, inventory orders shrink, and shrinkage signals a deeper problem within any brand's production cycle. All the signs point toward a broader shift in reliability, and the truth becomes clearer with every service record, auction remark, and technician report that surfaces. These details build a picture that no experienced observer can ignore any longer today. Now, Tahoe. Cracked gel coat around stress points, water staining beneath the cockpit liner, and engine bay hardware backing out far earlier than expected. These are the first signs technicians mention when Tahoe comes up today. Service teams say the same thing. The newest builds are wearing out long before they should, and the problems keep repeating across different units, different dealers, and different production batches. The shine still sells, but the repair logs tell a far different story, one that has made several dealers rethink how many Tahoe boats they are willing to take in. Dealers follow these patterns closely because their margins depend on predictable reliability. 1 warranty visit chips away at profit. 2 warranty visits eliminate it fully. 3 warranty visits in a short window turn the product into a burden they cannot ignore. That is when orders shrink, floor inventory thins, and units start appearing at auctions earlier than expected. Auction sheets tell their own story, noting moisture staining, misalignment corrections, and early mechanical adjustments on boats with hour counts that barely break the low double digits. When issues show up that early, depreciation accelerates, and no dealer wants to carry that weight. Owners post photos showing deck panels shifting under moderate wave impact. They record videos where you can hear rattles developing along the hull sides after only a single season. They share service invoices listing repeated adjustments that should not be necessary so soon. Technicians confirm these details, explaining that several structural bonding choices made during recent production cycles appear less durable than methods used during earlier periods. Electrical reliability has also gained attention. Circuit paths behave inconsistently. Switches lose continuity, and grounding connections require cleaning far sooner than normal. These issues increase diagnostic time and tie up already stretched service schedules. When that happens across multiple units, a brand's reputation begins to slip faster than any brochure can compensate for. Every sign points toward a shift that experienced observers recognize. The truth sits inside the repair logs, the used listings, and the quiet decisions dealers make when they reduce inventory without public explanation. Tahoe once filled showrooms confidently, but now the caution surrounding it speaks louder than any advertisement could. That shift carries real weight, and those watching closely understand the message growing louder with each season today. Yamaha. Problems with recent Yamaha boats often reveal themselves the moment a technician removes the engine bay cover. Jet pumps scored from light debris, cooling lines already showing blockage, and sensor alerts firing even when the engine is under minimal load. These are the first clues something isn't holding up the way it used to. Mechanics say they are seeing wear on steering nozzles far earlier than acceptable and corrosion building on electrical connectors, despite freshwater use. Owners walk in expecting Yamaha's long-standing reliability, but many leave with repair estimates, back-ordered parts, and long wait times that did not exist a few seasons ago. When failures repeat across boats with low hours, it stops looking like coincidence and starts looking like a shift in Yamaha's build consistency. Electrical reliability has also become a growing concern, with control modules reporting inconsistent readings, throttle inputs occasionally lagging behind real-time movement, and engine management systems triggering protective modes after minor fluctuations in temperature or load. Technicians have documented these occurrences across units with hour counts low enough to raise legitimate questions about long-term durability, and those questions have pushed some dealers to reduce future orders quietly. Service managers explain that each additional claim erodes margin, and 3 or 4 claims in a short window can remove any incentive to keep stocking a brand that returns to the shop more often than it leaves the lot. Owners post photos of pump housing scarred by repeated debris impact, wiring harnesses suffering early corrosion, and internal surfaces showing wear that should not appear until well beyond the first or second season. These real-world details match what experienced mechanics have been warning about for more than a few inspection cycles, and the alignment between owner testimony and technician reports creates a clear message the market cannot ignore. Auction listings support the pattern as well, documenting vessels with low hour usage paired with notes about diminished thrust, overheating indicators, or lingering vibration that points toward internal wear. Depreciation accelerates whenever reliability falters, and vessels that once held respectable resale are now dropping faster than comparable units from rival manufacturers with steadier maintenance histories. Dealers see the trend clearly because they track every repair, every part delay, and every callback that interrupts the normal ownership rhythm. And when those interruptions grow frequent enough, confidence dissolves quickly. Every indication suggests the downward trend is becoming harder for anyone to ignore. Chaparral. Stress cracks forming along hull stringers, transom areas flexing under moderate load, and adhesive joints separating around the bow seating. These are the problems technicians are now seeing repeatedly on newer Chaparral builds. Several service yards report deck panels lifting at the edges after limited use, gel coat chipping near structural supports, and moisture showing up in compartments that should remain sealed for years. Electrical switch panels have also become a frequent complaint, with owners experiencing intermittent power loss and grounding issues far earlier than expected. These issues are surfacing on boats with low hours, creating repair patterns that point specifically to Chaparral's recent production cycle rather than isolated bad luck. Technicians describe discovering moisture trapped beneath deck layers that should remain dry for far longer. They talk about stringer sections losing integrity not after a decade, but after only a few ordinary seasons on average. These issues force extended teardown procedures that require several stages of labor, and each stage adds cost, time, and uncertainty. Once water infiltrates core sections, the repair timeline stretches, and the price climbs into ranges that no owner wants to hear. Service departments confirm this repeatedly, noting that they perform bonding corrections and alignment inspections far more frequently now than they did even a few production cycles ago. Dealers monitor warranty behavior carefully because that behavior determines whether a product line remains viable. One claim cuts into the slim margin. A second claim eliminates the margin completely. A third claim within a short window turns the entire unit into a financial loss the dealership cannot ignore. That is when inventory orders begin shrinking quietly. The public sees fewer new units, yet the real explanation comes from internal data showing labor hours rising and parts availability tightening. Several regional managers have acknowledged that they plan incoming stock more conservatively because they cannot risk repeated back-to-back service demands. Owners support this picture with direct evidence. They share photos of stress fractures forming along internal corners. They post detailed notes about steering vibration emerging within the first few seasons. They document transom areas flexing under load, creating sounds and sensations that no well-built hull should generate. These accounts match what technicians report and what listings reveal when boats appear at auction, with comments pointing toward early structural fatigue. Resale values follow the trend downward whenever reliability comes into question. Taken together, these details form a pattern that is impossible to overlook. Every indicator points in the same direction, and the conclusion grows clearer with each new service record, each new listing, and each new dealer adjustment today. And that brings us to the end of today's breakdown. If this opened your eyes to what's really happening behind the scenes in the boating industry, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment with your own experiences, and subscribe so you never miss the next warning. Your stories help other buyers avoid costly mistakes, and your support helps this channel keep exposing what no dealership ever will.